Have you ever wondered why people join cults and how do they manage to control their members? The BITE model is a great tool to help to reveal those secrets. Let's go through 2 infographics. Well-meaning people join cults every day because these organizations know how to exploit us for our vulnerabilities. So first, let's start off with what the BITE model means. Behavior, information, thought, and emotional control. Cults, high control religions, and closed groups, what have you, all may employ these tactics to varying degrees, but they kind of use this as a framework. Behavioral control means that they are regulating and dictating who you can hang out with, when, where, why, how, maybe your job, maybe when you eat, maybe when you sleep, maybe you're isolated. There's so many things that they can do to literally control every second of every day. It is all encompassing. Information control means the organization is going to limit your access to outside sources. Not only that, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, they have a lot of propaganda that they are going to bombard you with. Not only do they discourage you to critically think about the information that you hear, they create this total lack of trust in media organizations by distorting and censoring information. Extremist groups do not allow independent critical thinking. On to thought control. They use thought-stopping techniques by suppressing critical thinking. Have you ever heard these stupid religious cliches like, just have faith, leave it in God's hands, God has a plan? Those are thought-stopping techniques. They don't allow you to push past those walls and get to the underlying issue. And that's because it makes you uncomfortable, because now you have to see past your confirmation bias. Oh, there's levels. Basically, your brain becomes a broken record. Because we are dealing with extremist groups, you will go from the highest highs to the lowest lows. You will be love bombed and told how amazing you are doing everything right and God is so proud of you. And the moment you misstep, you are being guilted with fear and shame. You're not doing it right. You're missing the mark. It's emotional blackmail. Members may face physical harm, or it could be the threat of eternal damnation or not being able to speak to loved ones if you're ostracized, if you don't follow the policies and procedures of this strict, dogmatic, high-control group. The influence continuum goes hand in hand with the BITE model. Every day we are under influence. It just is a matter of healthy influence or destructive. This side being more of the undue influence where we're being manipulated and exploited, and this side being healthy influences that encourage good behavior. Let's go through some of them. On this side of the spectrum, we have authentic self, unconditional love, conscious creativity and humor, free will, critical thinking. This is basically embodying being your own individual. On this extreme, we have false cult identity. You're not allowed to be an individual and think for yourself. You have hive-like thinking, cult mind. Conditional love. Everything is predicated on you behaving and following the doctrine. Doctrine. You can't question the doctrine. Solemnity, fear, and guilt. You always feel as if you're missing the mark, and around the corner, there will be punishment for it, whether it's eternal damnation or maybe even in your cult, it could be physical. Dependency, obedience. Again, the authority is unquestionable, and they make it so you are dependent on going back and re-ing up, recharging, because without them, you are nothing. The cult is your identity, and the leaders have created an us versus them mentality, and you want to identify with the group who is going to protect you, who is just like you. This is what we revere in a good leader. Psychologically healthy, knows own limits, empowers individuals, trustworthy, accountable. Did any of y'all have that in your cult? Because I know we certainly didn't. Anyway. Now for the authoritarian side of the spectrum, we've got narcissistic, psychopathic, elitist, grandiose, power-hungry, secretive, deceptive, claims absolute authority. Yeah, that was my cult leaders. How about y'all? They were unquestionable. Nothing they ever did was wrong. Their authority was never questioned. They would never take responsibility or accountability. There was never any transparency. These leaders outright lie to our faces. For a religion or group to run like a well-oiled machine, which it could and should, you should have checks and balances, informed consent, no undue influence. Don't lie to people. Be transparent. Individuality, diversity is encouraged. Means create the end. Encourages growth. Free to leave. You're not extorting people and blackmailing them to stay inside your organization. That's not healthy. And on the extreme side, we have authoritarian structure, deceptive, manipulative, clones people. You are not an individual. You are a carbon copy of the person next to you. Ends justify the means. That's right. You do whatever you need to do and say whatever you need to say to get what you need to get. Preserves own power. They'll protect the men and they will protect the money. No legitimate reasons to leave. As far as they are concerned, there is never a need or reason to want to leave the organization. There are so many layers to this that I have not even gotten to at this point, and we're 5 minutes into the video, but I want to talk about the whole bait and switch, how they get you with the good message, you're going to live forever in a paradise on earth, and it's not until you're months or even a year into the religion where you realize you have to give up everything and anything that you have in order to be part of this group. Or the coded, loaded language, where they reduce very complex ideas to one word, like worldly or disfellowshipped, and only you and the cult know, because it's cult speak. It's that cult mind speak that nobody else would understand unless you were in it and living it. And cults aren't just religious. In fact, my good friend Apostasy and I interviewed Dr. Yanya Lalich, who is a renowned author and cult expert on Skeptic Haven. You have to go check this show out. She was involved in a political cult. I know. Who knew? Because I didn't realize what cults were, how they existed and operated, and what tools they employed. But I promise you, she will help give some insightful information if you want to check out that video. What it all boils down to is we are good people who want to find others who are just like us and want to do good things like us. And we get swept away into these cults because they trick us with this bait and switch. And we think we're doing a good thing. We're getting involved with an organization who is going to help people. And we don't realize that we're just being manipulated and extorted for our time, our resources, our money. Thanks for watching. Since y'all have experiences with high control groups, also put any information you'd like to share into the comment section.